Hi, all. My name is Jonathan Lamb. I'm one of the calculus professors at Pellissippi State, and I've been assigned to work with you to try to help you out through this Asynchronous Calculus 1 online course. Um, the main thing I tried to do as I set this course up for you is to try to give you some flexibility. So often, classes and even online classes have a very regimented schedule of what you have to do each week and stuff like that. You'll notice that I have assignments and the schedule goes out, but I've tried to give you a lot of flexibility. For example, um, just because I have a homework assignment set on one day, I've also set it up to where there's no penalty if you end up doing that assignment a week, a month, or 2 months later. As long as it's done, you're going to get as much credit at whatever point you do it as if you had done it on time. So my deadlines that I've listed in the course are primarily just to get you to understand this is where you should be, not where you must be. We'll talk more about that later on as we get into the course. But first things first, most important thing is to let you know that it is my job to help you out this semester, and I take that job seriously. I want to help you however it is. If you don't understand something about how the course is set up, please let me know very quickly, and I'll be glad to clarify anything that needs clarification. If it's problems with the homework, anything like that, I'm more than happy to help out. Also, very important here at the very beginning is we need to get you into the MyLab platform that I have linked on here under the courses. We need to make sure you're up and running in that because that's where all of our lecture videos and homework assignments will be at. Okay, let me go ahead and share with you our Brightspace page here and we'll start getting into it. Okay, so here's our Brightspace page. As I said, I'm Jonathan Lamb. Nice to meet you, at least virtually. I'm excited to work with you in calculus this semester. And calculus is not one of our easier classes. If you wanted an easy math class, you might have taken like something like Survey of Mathematics or college algebra. This is a calculus class. It's not easy, but now I'll say this class, especially the way I have it set up, I really don't think you're going to think it's that much of a burden. That's my goal at least. I'll do everything that I can do to provide you support in this class should you need it. Again, just as I have a flexible schedule, I also try to be um, I guess, flexible with how much interaction you have with me and the other students in the class. You get to choose how you want to treat the class. If you want to meet with me every day on Zoom, you can do it. I'll be here for you. If you don't ever need to meet with me virtually or in person all semester long, that's fine too. It's whatever you need in order to be successful in this course. That's how I want you to do the course. Now, I say in this next sentence here, please make sure you stay on track and apply yourself. That's going to be a little bit more important in my class because of the fact that I give you a lot of flexibility in how you can schedule and do the work. It's very easy to get way behind and then not be able to catch up because you're trying to cram too much information in a very short amount of time. So please be responsible with the flexibility that I provide. This is a semester long class. You can't do all the content in a couple of weeks' time. That's not going to work. So I would at least recommend keeping up with the pace, probably on an every other week basis, trying to catch up and stuff and make sure that even if you fall behind one week, the next week you do double time and make up that week. I wouldn't fall any more than 2 weeks behind. That's my suggestion. I want to see you succeed, and will do all I can do to ensure that happens. I can't help you though if you don't ask for help. I so often I get students that come and see me towards the end of the semester and say, "Hey, what can I do now to pass your class?" And at that point, for a lot of students, it's too late, because if you're waiting till the week or two before the end of classes to try to have some sudden, learning of the material, that's just, it's not going to happen. So we need to make sure that the instant you have trouble here at the beginning of the class, that we get on it and we make sure that you have as much of an opportunity to learn the material as possibly can. I'm not really a huge fan of online classes, but I promise I'll do my best to work with you as much as I can. So you can certainly meet me on Zoom. I have my little Zoom link down here, the Math is Cool Zoom link. That will take you straight to this Zoom room. And it could be a one-on-one Zoom between you and I. It could be several people asking questions and stuff at the same time. Whatever it is, I'll be glad to help out in whatever format. Um, Keep in touch with me anytime you have questions. Best contact method, I have my email address there and the cell phone. Notice the email, it's the Pellissippi webmail address. It's not the email here inside of Brightspace. You can email me inside of Brightspace, but your answer will be more slow to come. This email I can get directly on my phone, and obviously, if you text me, I can reply very quickly there too. So a cell phone text letting me know who you are first time you text, or the webmail email. Those are the best two contact methods. But even if you contact me using the archaic email system within Brightspace, I'll still reply to it. It'll just be a little bit slower. Okay, now let's go into content and we'll start talking about the specifics of the policies. So policy sheet pulls up here. If I haven't already said, my office is in Haslam 2057. During my office hours, you're welcome. In fact, I would love it if you come and see me in person and I could work with you individually one-on-one, or anytime I have office hours, I'll also be on Zoom. So you can just drop into the Zoom room and I'll get the little doo on my computer and I'll know to let you into the Zoom room and talk with you and do whatever I can to help you out. So in office or Zoom, those hours are Monday through Thursday, 12 to 1. And then you can schedule appointments with me on Zoom anytime on Friday. Typically in the mornings on Friday, up in the Student Rec Center playing tennis till about 12 o'clock. But after that, from say 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock or 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I'd be glad to set up some Zoom appointments to go over whatever you need to talk about. Also, if you want to contact me on weekends, never an issue. So if you've ever had a teacher said, "Don't bother me on weekends," that's not me. If it's a time where I can't reply, I won't. So I wouldn't even care if somebody sent me a text at 11 o'clock Saturday night asking how to do a problem. You won't get a reply back at 11 o'clock Saturday night, but I'd probably look at it Sunday afternoon and reply back and help you out as best I could. So you let me know the instant you have a question, need any help. That'll be absolutely fine. And I always say I'll get back to you within a day. And then I put in parentheses there, if not much sooner. I can't imagine it ever taking me 24 hours to answer a question or anything like that. But if I'm super slammed with grading or something, perhaps it would take that long. Usually it's going to be extremely quick. Um, the material that we're using this semester, it's totally different from what we've been doing in the past. That may not mean anything to you guys since this is a Calculus 1 class and you probably haven't taken calculus at Pellissippi before. We previously used the Rogowski calculus book and a learning platform called Achieve, which our engineering classes are still using. The problem with the Achieve is that there were just no help resources for the students within there whatsoever. And so I would have to create my own individual help videos to let my students have some sort of resource as they try to do the homework online. Now, with what we have, that's not needed at all. Every problem has buttons where you can view an example of a similar problem. You can choose an option, help me solve this, where they lead you through the problem step by step with leading questions to try to get you to get to the concept. And of course, they also have a button that says, ask my instructor. And if you hit that, it emails me the exact question you're working on. And at that point, I could create a video solution explaining how to do the problem that you're working on and send it to you. So a lot of different help resources we have that we didn't have previously in our class. What we're using is actually a platform from the University of California. William Briggs, who is the author of our textbook, is a professor at the University of Colorado. They've had excellent results teaching with his curriculum and with the online Pearson MyLab platform there. After looking at how things are going there, we decided that we would try that at Pellissippi and hope that our students can have a similar benefit to what they're seeing there. Now, our class is differential calculus. We do every single derivative that is possible. Um, Ours and the University of Tennessee, we have the same idea of what Calculus 1 should be, as opposed to, let's say, somewhere like Tennessee Tech, their Calculus 1 is the easier derivatives, and then they do easier integrals all in the first class, and then they do the more difficult derivatives and more difficult integrals in the Calc 2 class. We think it makes more sense to know how to take all of the derivatives first before moving backwards. Integration is just the opposite of the derivation process. So we're going to learn how to walk forwards before we learn how to walk backwards in the next class. I would say the next class, integration, learning how to undo everything that we're learning to do this semester, it is a more difficult class. Now, the other thing that I'd like to mention as far as our book is that, uh, of course, there's an ebook posted off of the MyLab website. I also have a scan of our book posted underneath Brightspace. But if you would really like a hard copy version of the book for yourself, there is a loose leaf hard copy version in all of the bookstores. It should be approximately $40. They didn't have it in there last I checked last week, but they told me that they would have it before classes began. So hopefully it's in there. Um, Calculator is required for the class. It's really not a big deal. I don't know if you can see it on my little screen here, but I'll be using, it's probably not showing up well. I'll be using a TI-80 for calculator throughout the class. Anytime I'm sending you a video trying to explain something, if it needs a calculator to do it, you'll see I have a little TI-84 under my document camera, and it will show up better under the document camera. But that's what I'll use. It really doesn't matter what calculator you use. You could use the Casio FXG series if you prefer that. The only ones that we are against and that are prohibited are any with the computer algebra system. So a lot of students use the TI Inspire line. I'm not a fan of those calculators, but if you like using them, that's perfectly fine, as long as it's not the Inspire uh, CAS or CAS version where it will do the derivatives for you. We want to make sure you can do the derivatives, not that you can punch into your calculator and tell it to do the derivatives. Now, as far as resources, oh, and the other thing about the calculators, the only time really where that's relevant in this online class is in testing. So when you come to take the tests, and if you bring a calculator with you, they will just check to make sure it's not one of the calculators that's not permitted. So if it's a 84, a TI Inspire non-CAS version, or TI-83, or any of the Casio, it's going to be fine, and you can use that on your test. If it's any of these calculators here, that's where they would say, well, that calculator is not allowed. And then it's not a big deal because the testing center has TI-84 calculators to loan out to you while you're testing. So you could just use one of their calculators. You don't even have to worry about bringing a calculator to test. You could use one of theirs and be done with it. As far as resources this semester, um, I've made sure to place lecture videos before each homework assignment. So you'll notice homework assignments come after each lecture video. Please watch the lecture videos first so it makes sense out of the homework assignments, especially in this chapter one. You're going to think, well, I really don't need to watch the lectures because it's just basic pre-calculus review. I'd like you to go ahead and still watch the lectures. If there's part of it where you're like, I really don't need to hear that again. Like, I think 1-1 talks about the vertical line test. If you're like, I don't need to hear about the vertical line test, you can fast forward that part. It's no big deal, but it probably does have some other important things in there that you need to hear, need to remind yourself on before you just jump into the problems. Once you do reach the problems, as I was saying earlier, all of the problems that I've assigned will feature help features like help me solve it, show an example, ask for help. And the ask for help is where it emails me the specific problem that you're working on, and then I can reply back to you and help you out. Other internet sites that are good for calculus, Khan Academy has a great calculus page where you can watch both videos and some interactive assignments and stuff. They do a better job than a lot of pages that you would pay to use. Excellent web page there. If you want to see some brilliant online math notes, I've got a link right here. He's world renowned, Paul's Online Math Notes from Lamar University. He's just fantastic. Probably his notes are a bit more tended to the more difficult thing. He like for examples, for example, he will prove a lot of the things that we do in this class that most teachers wouldn't even try to prove. So if you kind of want to see some really good, thorough notes with the addition of some kind of neat things as far as where it comes from and stuff, that's an excellent page for you to look at. As far as another resource, first of all, and I mentioned it here in parentheses, I'm hoping you use me as your first point of contact. So no one's going to know how to help you with this class any more than I do. So I should be your first point person to reach out to ask for help. But we also have an excellent tutoring center with several capable tutors. And a lot of those tutors that works in our tutoring center have had me at some point in their calculus classes. So you can just say, hey, I have Professor Lamb, and they'll say, aha. And they'll probably know how to help you out because they know what I expect. Attendance, this is an asynchronous class. Again, I'm going to try to make this class as flexible as possible, both in terms of when you do the assignments and how you treat the class. If you want to contact me a lot, email, meeting online and Zoom, coming to my office, we can do that. If you're okay with never seeing me on Zoom or in person and are doing really well in the class, that's great too. So, however you want to do the class is how I want you to do the class. Contact me as much as you need or as little as you need. So, now one thing that you'll need to make sure to keep up with is we have only two test dates. So I have a midterm and a final exam. Now, on the surface, that sounds really intimidating. You're like, oh no, only a midterm and a final exam? That it does. It sounds intimidating. Here's the thing that I think you'll say, Okay, that's not that bad. Here's why. So, um, your online MyLab work that I have all of those help resources for every problem, show an example, help me solve this, ask for help, all of those help features on every problem. If you work long enough on the homework, you should get to a 100. You really should. There's no reason that you can't get every single homework problem correct. That's worth 50% of your class grade in this online class. So 50% of the grade is completely under your control. The other 50% comes from my two test dates, the midterm and the final exam. I believe the midterm is September 28th through October 4th is my availability in the testing center. We can see for sure on the course calendar. That's the next page, but I believe it's September 28th through October 4th. So you'll have your first attempt at the midterm during that week. And of course, everyone should take the first attempt at the midterm. What I'll do then, after I get those tests in, I'll grade, scan, and email you back the scan of your graded midterm over fall break. And at that point, you'll look at it, you'll see what you missed, if you missed anything, and most will miss something on there. But you'll look over your mistakes and how much I counted off and stuff like that. And then if you've done the homework as you should have, so the first section of homework for the midterm goes section 1.1 up through section 3.6. If you have every homework section at least to 80% completion, then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, for those students who have at least 80% completion on each of the homework assignments, then you get a second chance to take the midterm test. And what that second chance is you'll only rework the problems you missed on the first attempt at the midterm. So, for example, let's say the midterm has 20 questions. And let's say you missed question 5, 10, 15, and 20. We'll just go in increments of 5. And then let's say, oh, you get your grade back and it's an 80, and you're like, well, okay, that's at least a B. That's good. But let's say, hey, you're not happy with that, and I wouldn't want you to be happy with an 80. I mean, it's solid. But then what you could do if you've got the mandatory minimum of 80 on all of the homework assignments, then the week after fall break, then you would have from the Monday through the Saturday of that to take the reattempt on the midterm. So retest of the midterm. And on that retest, it's not like you're going to be stressing out in there because I only have you do the problems you missed on the first attempt. So if you only missed problems 5, 10, 15, and 20, you only work problems 5, 10, 15, and 20 on the retest. You automatically get credit for every problem you got credit on the first attempt. So your second attempt cannot be a lower grade than your first attempt. The worst you can do is just do horrible on every problem that you reattempt, and then you've got the grade that you started off to begin with. But let's assume that the student who missed those four problems, they go in there, they retest, they do well on those four problems the next time, and let's say well, meaning they get them all right, then their grade goes from an 80 to a 100 on that midterm. If a student does horrible and misses 50 points on their midterm, and then they retest and they get a considerable amount of the problems that they got correct, like let's say they get 30 of the 50 points back. It could raise the 50 to an 80. It could raise a 50 to a 90 if they get 40 of the 50 points correct on the second attempt. So this is a pretty generous policy, but again, that policy is only eligible for those students who are doing what they should be doing. One of the things as a professor I try to do is reward students who put effort in my classes. So if you're going to be working hard enough to keep up with the homework to a good level of 80%, then I'm going to do all I can do to make sure that you're successful in my class. And so whenever you do that test, you'll compare what you have. I'll post a very detailed key to the test solutions. You'll look at what you missed, and then you'll see why you missed it and what I wanted, and hopefully learn from that for your second attempt at the midterm. And then I do the same thing on the final exam. But again, both of those are only eligible for the retest portion if you're up to date with your homework at those points in the semester by the time those tests starts. Uh, our class and all classes at Pellissippi are on the 10-point system, so 90A, 80B, 70C, 60D, below 60F. Now, a lot of times students will ask, do you round? And obviously I round. I'm not going to be mean and say, well, if you're at an 89.5, technically that's still a B. I wouldn't be petty like that. If it's an 89.5, it's rounding to a 90. If it's a 79.5, it's rounding to a B for an 80. But now if it's a 79.22137, it's still a C. It rounds down to a 79. So I'd definitely round to the nearest number. Now, I don't put this at the bottom of this policy sheet lightly. I really mean it. Please, if you're beginning to struggle with any part of this course, see me immediately for extra help. I'm very willing to help you out. However you need, I want to be there. Now, I say this class can be brutally difficult. I think with the help options on the Pearson MyLab and having me as a resource, it shouldn't be too bad. But calculus in general can be brutally difficult. I truly hope you think that this is a fun and informative class. I want you to have fun as you're doing it. I don't want it to be a burden. That's one of the reasons why I try to make it as flexible as I can, because let's say you have 3 tests coming up one week. I don't want to bombard you with mandatory daily assignments on MyLab for my class at the same time. Just use that flexibility responsibly. And after you get done with those tests you have in other classes, then do my class whenever you can, but just not whenever it's too late at that point. Like for example, if you wait to start working on the 1.1 through 3.6 sections until 2 weeks before a midterm, that's really too late. You haven't given yourself a fair chance at the class. So try to work on it responsibly, and I would suggest staying on schedule every 2 weeks. So if you have to skip a week, the next week, try to double up your efforts. Calculus does have a high drop in failure rate, particularly Calculus 2. Calculus 1, not as bad. The next class, typically, a lot of students drop and fail in that one. But we're going to work and make sure that that doesn't happen in this class. The way this class is designed, I say, should help alleviate that with enough effort. Your MyLab average should be near 100%. Looking forward to helping you succeed. Okay, now up next, I want to look at our tentative class calendar. So this will show you where I think you should be each of the weeks and what you should be doing and stuff. So I say this is only a rough schedule presented for your convenience. You'll notice it mirrors the due dates for assignments on your MyLab platform. I've set up the course, however, to not penalize you if you do assignments after the due date. Those dates are where I want you to be, but I also want to allow flexibility to allow you to work on the class when you want. Now, the huge caveat of that is my next statement. Please note, you must have the homework done to 80% per section before the midterm and before the final exam dates if you want to rework problems you missed on your test to earn points back. Now, So this first week of August 18th, we're just starting the Wednesday of this week, of course. So you should familiarize yourself with the class policies. Basically, listening to this video should do that. If you have any questions, let me know. Then logging into MyLab by using the links that I have below. I have an instruction document about how to log into MyLab. There's a red shelf that gives you your um, password code to use in MyLab, and then after that, you just go into the Pearson MyLab, and it should be pretty straightforward after that point. You may have to set up an account if you've never worked with Pearson before. Um, After you do that, you should begin watching the lecture videos from chapter one and then the short chapter one assignments. This first chapter is just pre-calculus review. Next week, any of the chapter one assignments that you don't finish, you should finish next week, in addition to doing the lecture and homework for section 2-1. Each week after that, you'll see I recommend approximately 2 to 3 sections per week. It's essentially the same thing I do in my calculus classes that meet in person, about 2 to 3 sections a week. The week of September 29th, that's when our midterm is. That midterm will cover section 1.1 through section 3.6. So by the end of the week of September 22nd, you really should be done with all of your homework up through 3.6. The very next week, I will post a very detailed practice test. That's what I say here. I will have a detailed practice test with written and video solutions for you on Brightspace. So you should look over that practice test because your midterm is going to be almost identical to it, problem by problem. The exact same types of problems, just never the exact problem. So if you can do well on my practice test, you shouldn't have any problem on my actual midterm or finals. I'll do a practice for both of them. And then with that practice test, you'll also see exactly what I'm holding you accountable for. So if you show up to my test and say, I can't believe he asked that, well, then you didn't properly look at my practice test, because you'll know exactly what I'm wanting you to know before you go in to take my tests. So now, if you have the homework done, again, here I'm just reiterating, you'll have the opportunity to retake any problems you miss on your midterm on a second chance midterm. So your midterm test will be September 29th through October 4th. Please notice it's only offered at the Hardin Valley Campus Testing Center. I don't want to put it at the Strawberry Plains Testing Center, the Blount County Testing Center, or anywhere else, the Magnolia Campus Testing Center, because it takes a while for those tests to get back to me. The way I'm doing this test is I need to get those tests as soon as possible. I don't want to wait for the campus people at other places to mail the test form to me and then wait till it eventually gets back to me maybe a week later. That's not good enough. I want to get those tests graded, scanned back to you so you can look at them, see your mistakes, and then have the ability to take a retest. So because of that, I only allow tests at the Hardin Valley campus. Now, keep in mind, even though there is that restrictive policy, you only have those 2 tests a semester. So hopefully you don't find that too burdensome if you live far away. And then I say 2 tests, but you might come twice for each just to improve your grade. Whenever you come back to retest, hopefully you won't be spending long in the testing center because you'll only have to do the problems you missed on the first attempt. During fall break, there are new assignments, of course. You can work ahead if you want, but that's when I'll be emailing a scan of your graded midterm to you, so you'll see how you did on that. The next week, you'll get to retake the midterm, any problems you missed on it, assuming you have that 80% of all homework assignments. If someone takes the retest to the midterm that shouldn't have I just won't grade it. So I'll go in and to your MyLab and make sure you have that minimum of 80% each homework assignment. And let's say, for example, a student does the retest and then I go in and I see that they don't have 80%, I'll just send them an email and say, I'm sorry, I could not grade your retest for your midterm. You'll have to stick with your first grade. You were not eligible to take the retest. So you might, if you have any question about whether you're eligible or not, you can always email me. But it should be very clear. If all you have to do is go your grade book on MyLab, and all of the grades should be 80 or above. Now, after that, you'll see it continues pretty much the same as before. Every week, you have approximately 2 to 3 sections of assignments. With those assignments, there's a lecture that you have to watch, followed by an assignment, a lecture, assignment, so forth, all the way on down through the week of September, November 17th. By the end of that week, you should be done with all of your homework for the course. And then the week of Thanksgiving actually begins the availability of the final exam to the course. Now, at least a week before the availability of the final exam, again, I'll have a practice final posted online with written and video solutions that you should be able to look at and see exactly what I'm wanting you to do on the final exam. The final exam will just be over the sections 3.7 through 4.9. So the first test is over 1.1 through 3.6. The midterm is over 1.1 through 3.6, and then the final exam covers the rest of the class 3.7 through 4.9. And again, that test is only available at the Hardin Valley campus. It will be in there November 24th and 25th of the week of Thanksgiving. And then you're off Wednesday through Sunday for Thanksgiving break. And then the following week, I have an additional 3 days in there for the first attempt at the final exam. So you'll see the final exam will be in there Monday, Tuesday, the week of Thanksgiving, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the week after Thanksgiving, December 1st through 3rd. I have to stop it at that point because I need time to grade, scan, and email you back your first attempt so that then you can look at those and see if you need to take the second attempt on of the final exam. The second attempt of the final exam will be the following week, which is final exam week at Pellissippi. I'll have those in there Monday, December 8th through Wednesday, December 10th. Again, only at the main campus, Hardin Valley Testing Center. Now, for those who take the final exam before Thanksgiving, I'll have your graded test back and scanned to you right as soon as the testing period ends. Testing period ends at 7 p.m. Wednesday, December 3rd. You can be guaranteed by December 4th, you will see your graded test emailed to you. Everyone else who tests later on, it'll be a little harder for me, but I will work hard to get those graded. Everyone will get their first attempt on the final graded by the weekend, and at the very latest by the Sunday after that, December 3rd. So you can get your test back and see what improvements need to be made in order for the potential second attempt at the final. All right, looking at some other things through here. So hopefully I've very thoroughly went over the policy sheet and calendar, and I apologize if I went on and on and on too much about them. The student registration instructions are right here for how you get into the Pearson MyLab class. Since I have everything posted here in Brightspace, you should just do this part A here. I say there's 2 ways, but the second way, which is part B down here, is if you have to get your code from your email, you don't have to do that. So you'll click the red shelf link that I have up next. It should give you the password. And then instead of having to pay when you go into the book, you just use that password that you get here in Brightspace. And then if you might have to create a Pearson account in order to get into the course too. The password that you're going to need is off of this red shelf course materials. Now, when you click on this, most likely you should only see one book. And like I put here, you only need to click this the very first time to obtain your code. Now, you should not see five different things. The reason I do is because I'm teaching pre-calculus and four calculus classes between Calculus 1 and Calculus 2. So I see a lot in there. You should see one, but all you have to do is click on the one that you do see, and it should generate a code here for you that you can copy, and then that will be pasted whenever you go into the Pearson page. So this should be all that you need off of the red shelf, and then you go back in here and you click on this. This is the point where you'll probably need that code because they'll probably have some type of paywall or something. Don't dare pay anything. You just use that code to pay instead. And eventually you'll be able to open up our MyLab course. And after you do that initial setup, soon as you click that link, it should take you to this every time. Now, yours will look slightly different from mine since I'm an instructor of the course. It uh, probably there's some things you won't see, like you won't see the manage course, assignment manager, instructor tool. You won't see stuff like that, obviously, but it should look similar to this. And I'll post a few announcements here. As far as announcements, though, I won't post many announcements within the MyLab. I'll post most of my announcement within Brightspace because that sends you an email to notify you, hey, he's made an announcement on there. So that's probably a more effective way for me to do that. You'll see your calendar here that also shows you the assignment dates. You'll see on the 20th, we have the lecture video that you should watch for the first day. You can scroll here to the second day. So after that, I'm suggesting that second day of the class, you do the 1.1 homework assignment. And notice I tried to click the assignment and it's like, oh, prerequisite warning, you need to watch the video first. Haha. So please do watch the videos before you just try to go into a lecture assignment like that. Now, um, with, let's see, yeah, I'll go back to this. With the assignments through here, you will see the due dates on there. Please remember that's where I think you should be. So if you want to stay on pace with where I think you should be at any point, you'll stay on pace with that. But again, it's flexible. If you want to do it a week, 2 weeks, a month later, you're not going to be penalized as far as points. The only penalty starts to come, and really it's not a penalty, it's just you don't get rewarded on the midterm and final exam. You don't get the option to take it twice if you're not up to date and at 80% each section. If you have any trouble as you use these, please let me know, though. I'll be glad to help out however I can. I just went into the 3-3 homework here. Hopefully it loads for me. It's taking a while. I think it's because I have the Zoom open. Yeah, here it goes. So whenever you go into, I'll pick a particular problem here. Like if I go 3-3 number 48, oh, it's a gorgeous product rule derivative. Now, let's say I don't know how to work this problem. All you have to do is go down here. The one I like the best is view an example. If you look at that and bring that up, you'll see the example is extremely similar to the question on hand. Oh my goodness, it's the exact same. Oh no, it's not the exact. It's 10r plus 6 in there instead of 5r plus 4, and it's 3r cubed instead of 2r cubed, but very, very similar. And then they'll take you through the rules and explain how to do it. Notice it's saying, hey, take the derivative of the first term, derivative with respect to r of the second term, derivative with respect to r of the third term, and so forth. And then it's going to show you how those derivatives expand out. And then, boy, it's really breaking it down. It's pulling the constant factors out in front And then it's finally multiplying. So if anything, it broke it down into way too many steps, but it's a very, very thorough explanation. Should help you out as you're trying the problems. You can also do the help me solve this, where they're going to prompt you to do it step by step with them and help you out. Like if you can't simplify it and stuff, they're going to help you out and tell you what you're doing right or wrong and stuff. Obviously, also there's the Ask My Instructor, so that will pull up a little thing that'll go directly to me, and it will specifically, it won't just give me this, it will show me the precise problem that you're working on to help me out as far as knowing what you need to be helped with. Okay, back to our page here. If I go to content, so that's all the Pearson. I also have links to the lectures and the homework here in Brightspace. You'll notice I did them in 2 weeks at a time. So the first 2 weeks, you should be working 1.1 through 2.1, both the videos and the assignments. So you can access the videos and assignments from my lab, or you can do it from here in Brightspace if you prefer. It's whatever works best for you is fine with me. So that takes you to the exact same assignments. You'll notice week 7, that's our midterm week. And I explained there, after that point, you should have done all of the homework up through 3.6. So by the end of the 6th week, you should have done all the homework through 3.6. At that point, you prepare for the midterm by looking over my practice test for the midterm, going at some point between September 29th and October 4th to the main campus testing center, taking it in there, and then being on the lookout for my graded midterm, to where you can see how well you did. And if you didn't do as well as you hoped, knowing that you can have a retest if you've been keeping up with the homework. Then it's set up similarly for the second part of the semester, several weeks of lecture and homework assignments, followed by the final exam week. Our practice tests, when they're done, they'll be right here. They will be done way before you need them. So our midterm starts September 28th through October 4th. At least a week before that, I'll have your midterm practice posted with the written and video solutions to it. Test solutions will be in the next link. Anytime you take a test, I'll post a detailed key of what I wanted you to do on that test. And then that will allow you to look at it and know how you need to improve if you're eligible for the retest. If you want a scan of the book, so there's a nice ebook. The e-textbook is posted here within well, that's within my instructor. Let me go back to that. Yeah, open my e-textbook. There we go. So there's a nice ebook within the Pearson page. You can use that. Mine's taking forever to load there. Or come on, Pearson. I'll come back to it. I'll show you this. I've posted a scan of our book chapter by chapter that you may find easier to use. It's whatever you prefer. I have the scan here in Brightspace, or the ebook that has still not loaded for me. I think my computer's just going slow because of the Zoom. I'll go back to that in a minute. Now, I do have a derivative graphing website, just some fun things. It's not a requirement. It's just if you wanted to look at that, it's a cool thing. It helps you graph derivatives from original functions, or original functions given the derivative. If you wanted to see what I've done in the past, this is resource material only. If you wanted to see lecture videos from me teaching the class, they're right through here. Now the videos are done by the team of it's not the author himself, but it's one of the team of people that helped him write the book. So they're excellent videos. So I just stuck with those. But anytime you wanted to see me teaching some content and stuff like that, you could go into my old materials where I did it. That just show you my perspective on some of the things if you wanted it. Um, Let's see, if you wanted to look at some old practice tests and stuff, you can say, well, what have his tests been like in the past? What are our practice tests going to look like? You can see what I've done in the past. This was the practice test they had. And then my solutions to that practice test should pop up next. So the first part is some pre-calculus problems that I had on there. And then it goes into the limits and things like that that we're going to be talking about in chapter 2, fun stuff. And then I will have videos of me reviewing it as well. I'll do all of that stuff for us this semester too. But if you kind of wanted to go back and say, well, I'd kind of be interested in seeing what he did in the past, he's probably not going to change a whole lot. That's valid. I probably won't. It won't be any of the exact same things, but it'll be similar. We are using different curriculum, so it won't be, it won't be exactly the same, but it'll be fairly close. Now you'll see here when I go to the e-textbook, for some reason mine opened up to page 81. You can scroll through and look at any pages you want and stuff like that. That's page 80, page 79. It looks like just in the midst of some problems at the end. Oh, trigonometric limits. That's some cool stuff. So we'll be looking through um, the textbook, whether it's within the ebook on MyLab or just the scan of it that I have here on Brightspace. All right, guys, I think that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully, if nothing else, you're like, oh yeah, it's this guy, Jonathan Lamb. He's no problem. I'm comfortable asking him for questions. Please, anytime you need to reach out, do so. I'm here to help and I'm eager to do so. All right, guys, take care, and I hope you have a great semester in this class.